Have you ever found yourself asking, why do I keep ending up in the same place no matter how many times I start over? Today's show is an extremely powerful one because it touches on a topic that so many of us have experienced, that of repeating the same patterns in our lives despite our best efforts.
This is the Reinvention Stories After 40 podcast,
where women find the courage to rise, rebuild, and reinvent life on their terms.
Real women, real struggles, real transformations.
And now, here's your host, Lorna Blake.
Greetings and welcome to the show. My very special guest today, Jennifer Evans, is a transformational coach who has been down this road and has figured out the missing piece to the puzzle. Rebuilding her life after two divorces, two suitcases, and $2,000. She ended up in the UK, and she had a dramatic shift in her life where she now lives her dream life in Italy with her partner. And she guides other midlife women to step into the life that has been calling them for far too long. So without further ado, please help me welcome Jen Evans to the show. Jen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule in Italy to join us. It's so great to have you.
Thank you so much, Lorna. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And
Oh,
yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation.
wonderful. Well, I can't tell you how excited I've been looking forward to this. And so let's jump right in and start at the beginning. Can you take us back to what your life looked like before your reinvention?
Yes, and I've had many reinventions, those patterns showing up constantly. And I like to look at reinvention as evolving. I see at each reinvention there's been some evolvement. Um, so yeah, and I love that word reinvention because we reinvent ourselves all the time. So for me, I as most women, I think, especially the women that I talk to, I'm sure the same, the women that you talk to as well, Lorna, is those repeating patterns of where everything looks good on the outside. You know, I've had two husbands, but I had a husband, a lovely husband, just not right for me. I had a very successful corporate career, an international career. I lived abroad. I had some amazing friends. And from the outside, everybody would go, "Oh my God, your life is amazing. Look at you. You've got it all together." Um, but underneath, as much as there was joy and fun, underneath there was this feeling that I was missing something. There was an emptiness. My career, it was a great career, but it wasn't fulfilling for me. And as I said, my husband was a lovely man, but we weren't connected. Um, and it created frustration. I felt very disconnected from myself. And at times I felt truly hopeless. So I left that relationship and then I jumped into another relationship and moved to Canada. And that again was an amazing life from the outside. And but again, I felt empty, and it always felt like either my career was going really well, but my relationships weren't. So I was always looking outside of myself for the answers. I was always looking to other people to help me feel fulfilled. Um, but it felt like I was living somebody else's life,
Hmm.
and I wasn't really being my true self, but I wasn't aware of that at the time. So yes, after those two failed marriages, um, and moving back to the UK with the two suitcases, my dog, £2,000 dollars in my pocket, I was like, why is this happening again? Like, this is another massive change in my life. And I'm 40 years old. What am I doing wrong?
Hmm.
After all those moves. And so, yeah, there was a lot of patterns that I was repeating over and over and over again.
Hmm. Fascinating one. You mentioned something that really stuck to me. You mentioned that you felt like you were living somebody else's life. Can you say a
Mm.
little bit more about that?
Yes, I think um, my dad always he always taught me to be happy, but he didn't tell me how to do that. Um, and there was a lot of expectations. I grew up with three brothers, and I always felt that I had to prove myself. I always felt like I needed validation. Um, and as much as I love my brothers, they used to pick on me. They used to bully me, but from
Mm.
a place of love. So I always felt that I wasn't lovable. So I did everything I could to fit into what I thought would make me lovable and make me happy. So
Uh-huh.
I followed those societal expectations,
Mm.
having a loving husband. I didn't actually have children, but having that family. But also when I was growing up, in at that time, it was important for women to have a career, and I wanted to prove that I was as good as anybody else, and I would strive and have goals that I would always reach. It was never enough. I was constantly striving
Mm.
to better myself, but
Mm.
not from a place of my heart. I was completely overriding what my heart was telling me.
Oh gosh.
Um, because I wanted to be successful. I wanted to show my dad, look at me, I'm worthy. Again, I wasn't aware of all of those behaviors at the time, but it was wanting to show everybody that I was good enough, that
Mm.
I am just as good as my brothers.
Mm. I can
And
so
and that's why, that I wasn't listening to my inner guidance. I wasn't listening to my heart, to my soul.
mm.
Because what was interesting, when I was very young, I used to help my mum heal her migraines.
Mm.
So from a very early age, I wanted to help people. I wanted to
Mm.
help them feel good.
Mm.
And that's what I still do now. That's what I came back to, helping people feel good, but also helping themselves to feel good, show them
Yeah.
how they can feel good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just ignored what my inner knowing was
Yeah.
telling me.
Yeah. See, what you've really brought to us is what so many of us as women are, midlife women can relate to. We
Mm,
were taught
mm,
to fit in, to do
mm.
what everybody wants us to do, and it was always to the point of seeking that validation, but not internal validation, and not being connected with our inner knowing. And so
Yes,
as you
yeah,
spoke, I could
absolutely.
feel that. Yeah, I relate to
Yeah,
that.
and that comes from the conditioning, as the expectations, but also generational conditioning as
True.
women. There's the need for validation, but there's also a need for permission.
Yeah.
That lays very heavy on women. And even in the 70s, women could not have a bank account in the UK
Mm.
without a man's permission.
Hmm.
And in the States, I believe it was also the same for a credit card. A woman could not have our own personal credit card in the
Mm.
70s.
Hmm.
And
Which
if
is
you
not
were
so far, not so
yeah,
long ago.
no. And if you were a bit different, and when I was younger, I was very different. I was very away with the fairies, as my dad used to say.
Oh.
Um, I used to feel things that thought other people felt as well.
Mm.
And then as I got older, I realized they didn't. So I squashed that all down. And I'm sure you relate to that as well, Lorna,
Yeah.
and a lot of the listeners. If you didn't follow society's expectations, if you didn't do as you were told and be a good girl, you could potentially be put in an asylum by a male family member
Mm-mm.
or guardian because you're not doing as you're told. You're
Mm-mm.
being different. And even in the 60s and 70s in the UK, there were most of the mental institutes were filled with single women. And yeah, I mean,
Know
that's
that.
not that long ago. So it's not surprising that we feel that we need validation. We
Wow.
feel that we need to, we need approval and we need permission.
Yeah, that's powerful. You just
Mm.
touched on so many things right in there. You're teaching today, Jen. Really, it's so
Mm.
powerful.
And so it's not our fault that we feel unfulfilled or we think there's something wrong with us
Yeah,
because there
great
isn't. There's
point.
absolutely nothing wrong with us, and it is not our fault.
Take me back to the moment in your life where you realized something had to change. That moment, maybe back in the UK, starting over.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I remember, I was in my early 40s, and I moved back to the UK with no job.
Hmm.
I didn't even have any, when I say I had $2,000 in my pocket, that's all I had.
Mm.
And I just literally stayed at my brother's because he was the only place I could stay with my dog,
Mm.
until I got myself back on my feet again and went into another job that was unfulfilling. But I remember feeling very alone and sitting on my living room floor because I did actually find a job and find myself an apartment very quickly, so I knew I would. But
Mm.
I would just felt so empty and alone. And I remember sitting on the floor in my living room crying, going, "What? I cannot believe I'm here again."
Hmm.
And from that point, and they were really, that ugly cry, it was a
Mm.
real release. And I felt a lot lighter when I'd had a really good cry. And I sat with myself and I asked, what is it that keeps happening? What am I missing? And I realized finally the common denominator was me.
Wow. Ding,
That
ding,
I
ding.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was looking out, like I said, I was looking outside of myself to be happy. And I was starting to explore people, teachers of like Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks, Louise Hay, that whole I Can Do It. In fact, I went to an I Can Do It festival before I came to the UK. So I realized the common denominator is me. So my happiness comes from within. And I finally realized to stop doing what's expected and start listening, going within and sitting with myself,
Mm.
which was scary to
Mm.
be alone, to be still with my thoughts.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was the final realization that it was me, um, and that I needed to stop looking outside of myself.
Mm. 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 Now, was this the first time that you realized you were the common denominator?
Um, that's a good question. And to be honest, I can't remember. I do know I did have an understanding that happiness comes from within, but my behavior wasn't showing that.
Mm.
Even though I had that, yes, we hear it all the time, happiness comes from within. My behavior wasn't matching that. My behavior was still that habitual looking outside of myself for
Mm.
other people. My relationships, they were what needed to keep me happy. If I had a really loving husband or partner, then I'd be happy.
Mm.
So I was putting a lot of onus on other people. And of
Yeah,
course, we don't control what other people do or say. And if we can give our power away to somebody to make us happy, then they can make us sad as well.
that part.
Yeah, yeah, they can hurt. If they can make us feel really good, they can also make us feel really bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's such a powerful realization. And I think it speaks to, the conditioning. that many of us as women were socialized with,
Mm.
and so it definitely shapes how powerful we are or how powerless we are. Is it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, how powerless we sometimes think, when we do that, we feel like we're powerless and we're not.
Yes,
We're totally the opposite.
exactly.
We are truly powerful divine beings. We give birth, we create life. Yes, we
Mm.
need a man to do that or that function to do that as well, but we are such powerful beings and we forget that. And that's the reason why we forget that is because it's been squashed out of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Big time, big time. So I want to take you into some of your inner work in terms of patterns and so on. And I want to check in with you. What was the biggest fear or challenge you had to face to step into your new life?
I think one of the biggest fears was making the same mistake and failing again.
Yeah.
Um, so I didn't, because I was the one that made all those previous decisions, I didn't trust myself.
Mm,
And it wasn't until I was working with somebody that we actually went deep. One of my main mentors years ago,
mm,
we went deep and I uncovered actually my intuition was always spot on,
mm,
but I didn't listen to it. So
mm,
yeah, one of the biggest was I'm going to make another mistake. I'm going to fail. I'm going to look like an idiot. What will others think of me? Even though I was quite a rebel, I,
mm.
s- I still wanted approval. So that was one of the biggest fears, not having approval from my peers, my family. And the other thing was sitting with myself quietly and
Mm,
going deep to find those answers because I didn't necessarily want to hear what I didn't want to go there. Um, I didn't want to go through my past because it was so painful in parts.
yeah,
And I think a lot of women are scared of feelings. I didn't want to feel the feels, the pain.
yeah.
But I think when you sit with yourself and you're gentle with yourself, and that's what I learned to do is to be really gentle with myself and to have compassion instead of the judgment and beating myself up.
Yeah.
I was able to come from a much gentler place and be compassionate for my journey and appreciate what I'd been through.
Mm, wow. Lots of great takeaways there. So I want to take you into dig a little deeper here. Can you share a little bit of how you began to rebuild trust with yourself because you weren't trusting your inner guidance and your intuition? How
Yeah,
did you begin
yeah,
to rebuild trust?
yeah. I mean, so initially I was fiercely independent and thought, right, I can do this by myself. I can sit, I can write, I can journal, I can go deeper within. And it took me a while to realize actually I need some help here because there's things I can't see. And how do I learn to trust myself? Because I didn't. So I needed somebody else's help to show me how to do that. And what I learn, and this is what I teach my clients as well, it's one of the key elements of women realizing and making decisions and getting confident with their decisions and making their aligned choices. I realized that I had to really create stillness and ask questions and see how they feel in my body.
Hmm, that
Because
part.
people used to say to me all the time, "You're so intuitive." And I just poo-poo it and go, "No, I'm not. I don't have that."
Hmm,
But we all have that. We are all intuitive. It's a natural ability that we're born with.
mm-hmm.
But because we don't sit still, we lose that
Yeah.
because we're looking outside of ourselves for that validation. We are looking for somebody else to give us the answers Yeah, how many times do we doubt ourselves and go, well, what do you think? What should I do? I
Yeah,
don't know what to do. What should I do?
true.
And it is a skill. It's absolutely a skill to come back to
It's
sit.
building muscle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you learn to sit with those you first of all, you know, asking the right type of questions is also a skill.
Hmm.
And then seeing how your body feels. Does it pique your interest? Does it have you leaning forward?
Mm,
Or does it bring you dread and drain you?
true.
And the tricky part, I think, is understanding when our mind gets in the way, where it creates fear, and when it's actually our body's going, this is a no or this is a yes.
Mm, powerful. That's
And
truly
it does
powerful.
take practice and it is a skill. And I had a lot of help
Mm,
from my coaches and mentors to help me really understand that and then have the courage to follow it.
good point.
That's
Yeah,
another, you know, how do you gain that courage to follow it? How do you feel empowered enough to follow what is in your heart, in your soul,
yeah,
what's calling you forward?
yeah. It's truly a big deal to recognize that no matter how hard we try and no matter our best efforts, we all need help.
Yeah,
We all
yeah.
need help. And as you
Uh,
said, for so many of us as women, we need to seek outside help to rebuild that trust in ourselves, to give
yes.
ourselves a fresh start.
Yeah, and to uncover the things that are hidden from us, because
True.
a lot of the time, and also to celebrate us.
Yes, and
Because
champion us.
we have gifts, we have unique abilities that no, you know, we bring something to the world that nobody else does or
Yeah,
can because of our past experiences, because of our personality,
yeah.
because of our certain natural abilities and our experiences.
Hmm.
And I think it's important to have a cheerleader on side to help you see those things about you,
Yeah,
as well as see the behaviors and ha habits and patterns that you can't see because they're too hidden. You're too close to it.
yeah, I agree
See
with
it for
you.
yourself. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a quote from I think it's Les Brown. I love Les Brown, and I think he said you can't see yourself in the picture because you're too close to the frame, right?
Mm,
And yeah,
hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest reasons why we need to get ourselves a coach or a
yeah,
mentor, somebody to
yeah.
help us. And I know a lot of people who are listening today can so relate to so many of the things that you've shared already in
Mm,
terms of not trusting ourselves, seeking outside validation, even rushing into relationships.
yeah.
And so, what did slowing down actually look like for you?
Being outside in nature a lot more,
Hmm.
but not just being outside in nature, being present in it. So becoming more aware of my surroundings, listening to the birds. So really, so because I know a lot of people that go walking and they will either be listening to music, which is great because it's uplifting, um, or a podcast. But sometimes we need just stillness. We need quiet so
Great.
that we can hear the birds and notice what's around us and feel the sun or the elements on our face, listen to the breeze through the trees,
Hmm.
see all the if you know the greens or the plants that are around you, feel the ground beneath your feet.
Hmm.
I think that was one very easy way for me to start becoming really present.
Hmm.
And breath work would help.
Hmm.
But also, again, it's that permission, giving myself permission, not that I needed to give myself permission, but not waiting for anybody else to say it's okay.
Oh, that part.
Yeah, and realizing the importance of it instead of just going rush, rush, rush. Because if you want something to change, you have to create awareness. You have to know where you are and start to explore and understand where you want to go. And a
Hmm.
lot of women don't know what's available to them or don't know what they truly want because they've been so wrapped up in helping and being there for everybody else and making sure everybody else is happy. They
Great.
forgot their own happiness. And most of my clients come to me and go, I don't even know what makes me happy anymore.
Mm.
So slowing down was just breathing and giving myself that permission and understanding how important it was. If I want to make changes, I need to create space in my mind. I can't create change while my head is, my mind is overthinking, while I feel overwhelmed or feel stressed. So
Wow.
you have to first give yourself permission to create that quiet and that space, however that might be for you. For me, it was nature. I listened to guided meditations. Um, I do breath work. I move. I dance.
Same here.
Um, yeah, I sing. If my head's too busy, because your brain can't do two things at once. If you're singing and you're in that song, your brain can't think about everything else and overthink. You
Yeah.
have to be present with that song.
Yeah.
So I found things that worked for me. I looked, because we're all different.
True.
And I think when I'm working with clients, we look at what is it that suits you? What is it
Mm.
that helps you? Is it meditation? And a lot of people can't meditate because their minds are too busy.
True.
Or is it little walks in nature? Is it just sitting outside in your garden?
Yeah.
Is it drawing? Is it being creative? Because creativity is such a powerful thing in terms of helping you become present
True.
and quiet that mind. And then
Love.
and then journaling, writing down my thoughts.
Mm.
Because when you write them down, they're not no longer in your head spinning around. They're on paper.
Yeah. I just love all that you've shared, and I can now understand why they call you Zen Jen. Yeah, I get it. What does your life look like now, and how does it feel different?
Um, it's worlds apart from where I was. So And because I did the work within, because I started loving my life and loving myself,
Mm.
that was my biggest, for me, I had to really love myself because I wasn't relying on someone else to do it. So I loved myself and I started to love my life as it was.
That part.
Started to really appreciate what I had in life instead of looking at what I didn't.
Mm.
And because of that, I met my partner of 9 years. We just
Oh,
celebrated 9 years, longest relationship I've ever had.
congratulations.
Dominic, and we met walking our dogs. So it
What?
was it was effortless.
Oh,
And
wow.
he is the most supportive, kind, loving man I've ever met and could only ever dream of, I realized that I didn't think I deserved that type of relationship. So
Oh,
that's why I was always attracting men that were either, were unavailable to me or
yeah.
weren't connected with me. But once I realized that I was worthy and that I love myself and I let go of that need to have a partner, he
Yeah.
showed up.
Wow.
So we now live in Italy, as you said earlier,
Oh,
between the sea and the mountains.
oh,
Um, and my mornings are sitting on the terrace, drinking a tea,
oh,
listening to the birds. We've got woodland behind our property. We've got a gorgeous view down the valley to the sea. We've got mountains behind us.
wow.
And we have two crazy dogs. They're nearly 2 years old now. We've always had dogs, but these are fairly new to us. And we travel, we explore. I have so much freedom in my life. I feel expansive and there's just this lovely grounded inner knowing.
Wow.
Um, Most mornings I feel excited. Not every day. Some days I have low days, but I know how to move through it. I know what I need to do. I just ask, show me how, what I need to do in this moment. And that might be a nap. It might sometimes be a cry, or it might be a walk, or it might be sit down, have a cup of tea. It might be have a shower. It might be dance in the kitchen to some music. So yeah, I just, life isn't perfect.
Mm,
But I know how to shift my feelings. I know how to uplift myself. I know how to release. I don't judge myself anymore. There's no negative self-talk.
mm,
So it's not just the external
mm-hmm,
of living a beautiful life here in Italy. It's the internal sense of inner peace and calm,
mm,
that love, that worth and lovability, and that I can fully express myself
mm-hmm,
and be seen
mm.
and not care about what other people think because they don't matter.
Wow.
And
Mm,
Dom allows me to be that he allows me to be me. He sees me and yeah, that I see you.
yes.
We see each other. So
Powerful.
yeah. And I also the work that I do, I absolutely love the work that I do.
Wonderful. I
Helping
love.
women,
Mm,
yeah, helping women do the same, not necessarily blow up their lives and move to another country, but do the same about, building that self-trust and helping them make aligned, soul-aligned decisions and choices
mm,
and bring them back to that place where they're filled with self-worth and self-love, where they no longer need to seek validation or approval or permission.
mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest difference is I'm no longer searching.
Wow. That part, that sense of peace
Mhm.
and no longer searching is what so many of us are yearning for, are praying for, are hoping that we can get there someday. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up. Happy for you. And
Thank you.
absolutely, you're welcome. So tell us, what would you say to the woman watching this right now who is thinking, it's it's great that you found it, but it's too late for me.
hmm And that again is something that I hear a lot. Well, that's for you. I'm not that person. I can't
Yeah,
do that. And it might be too late, or there might be other things that come up. It
mm,
is never too late.
great point.
And I would suggest that you start looking for the evidence of that. Look for women of your age group that are doing what having a life that where they are truly happy. They're not pretending that they're happy, but they are truly happy. So look for that evidence. And I truly believe when you listen to your heart, your soul, when you go deep and listen to your intuition, that will lead you to a more fulfilling life, a happier life with love and purpose and joy. Um, and learning how to tap into that is key. Um, and I said it before, we don't need permission, we don't need approval, we don't need validation.
Mm,
So when you have those feelings of discomfort and unfulfillment, listen to them
hmm
because it's your soul speaking to you. Your soul is letting you know there is more
hmm
and
hmm
play with it. We
Mm,
don't have to be so serious about it.
true,
I think coming from a place of curiosity is and such a skill of
true.
not allowing that judgment and fear. It's be curious,
Mm,
explore, see where it leads you,
hmm
and
hmm
and start to notice what piques your interest and has you leaning in.
mm,
And ask yourself, why not? Why the heck not?
mm,
If you can do it, I'm not special.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not special. We all have our own unique gifts and abilities. I'm no different in terms of being special. We are actually, I'm going to rephrase that. We are all special.
True.
We are all powerful,
Yeah.
and we all have the capability to change.
Beautifully stated. That really, really inspires me, and I'm so glad that you brought it to us. The part about women looking for evidence of what's possible and looking for women in their age group and asking themselves why not really speaks to me. And I'm sure it's speaking to my listeners and viewers right now. So I thank you for that. And so our time is quickly running away from us, and I'm just so enjoying this because there's something deeply nurturing about connecting with you, and it feels like you're feeding me and feeding us. And so I'm so enjoying it. So for anybody who feels really connected to your story and wanting to learn more, how can they find you and learn more about your work?
I have a podcast. It's
Beautiful.
called Soar and Flourish.
Soar is SOAR.
Yes, soar as in the bird,
Uh-huh.
soaring in the sky. Yep, soar and flourish.
And flourish.
Especially for women, designed for women to help women in midlife to discover themselves and live a more fulfilling life. And
Mm,
there's all sorts of topics in there, very practical topics from feeling overwhelmed to understanding what you truly want and what's possible.
mm,
And that's on Apple and um, Spotify.
hmm.
And then there's also my website, thezengen.com.
TheZenGen.com.
Yeah, thezengen.com. And
Beautiful.
if anyone wants to reach out to me personally, you can do that via email, which is Jennifer at thezengen.com. I'm always I always love hearing from people, and I'm always happy to have conversations with people to find out where they are and, help them gain some real good clarity of what they're
Awesome.
looking for. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So we're going to put all of your links in the description down below. And Jen, I can't say enough about how I've enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing so openly, so beautifully, so generously your story and nurturing us with your story. I know that this is going to resonate so deeply with our community. And to you, if something in this conversation spoke to you today, just know that there's more for you, that it's not something to ignore. Find evidence of what you're seeking, as Jen suggested, and ask yourself, why not you?
mm,
Your next chapter is still waiting for you. If this resonated, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What part of Jen's story spoke to you the most? And if you're on your own reinvention journey, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to help us reach more women who need to hear this message. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye for now. Bye
bye
for
bye. Thank you so much, Lorna.
my pleasure. Thank you again, Jen.